tough to cool it. They are trying to place the radiator, a lot of the front part of the car, as you see Jeff Bodine sitting as patiently as you can actually be when the front half of your race car has been sawed away, with the Motorcraft crew working diligently to get him back in the race and pick up some valuable Winston Cup points.
All right, on the racetrack, it is the 5th place car of Derek Cope.
There's Ricky Rudd, the Tide Chevrolet. He's the 6th place car.
Musgrave's got a bit of damage on that 55 Jasper Engines US Air Ford.
He just backed it in the wall down in turn 1 just a couple laps ago.
Where's he running there, Benny? 18th?
Beats me.
Yeah, 18th position is where Musgrave is running.
The 28 car is running 7th. And there we see Darrell Waltrip. He's the 8th place car.
That is incredible, isn't it? How Darrell has been able to work himself into the top 10 and stay there despite the fact he started on the back. Yep, sitting on the back, started 35th.
Jeff Gordon was several laps down in that 24 car. He had an overheating problem, stopped. They evidently have cured it because he looks like he's running okay.
Darrell Waltrip, 5 wins in this race, 7 wins in the fall event. And we might explain that he started back in 35th position because he had some problems during qualifying. Not that he ran so slow that he couldn't make the race, but they had problems.
Yeah, he blew an engine on Friday, didn't get any practice, and then Saturday, I really didn't talk to him after Saturday's qualifying. I don't know why that his car didn't qualify any better. But you can see that he has one of the better cars.
He sure does.
Meanwhile, behind him, we saw a race between Spencer and the 21 car, Morgan Shepherd. Spencer takes a spot away. That was for 9th spot.
And John Kernan has a follow-up to what Benny was talking about.
Well, you talk about how Darrell Waltrip is running really well. How about Davey Allison? He's running on only 7 cylinders. In fact, he had told Larry McReynolds in the crew not long ago that the car is running really well. He feels that if he had a full 8 cylinders under the hood, he might be able to run with Rusty and the rest of the gang.
Well, Darrell Waltrip is currently 8th, and Davey Allison is 7th. Jerry, you have anything else?
Well, Benny mentioned that it's been a Murphy's Law weekend for Darrell Waltrip. He blew an engine prior to qualifying. He hurriedly put an engine in, did not get a chance to get a good lap in. And then yesterday, their scales broke. The electric scales they have here, battery operated, so they had to borrow a set of scales. They couldn't get the car weight correctly. They went the wrong way on the chassis. The car was too loose to try to drive. He couldn't qualify it again, so we had to start 35th, shotgun on the field. But like DW said, I was first in the last race, and I was last in this race, so maybe I can rearrange it.
Doing a great job in the Western Auto Chevrolet. Currently 8th position.
That was a good shot of the Western Auto.
And trouble, Bill Elliott over in turn 2. Red Roger Ford spins around, into the wall, back down on the inside of the track.
That car was damaged already in the front end, and now more damage has been done to Bill's car. And Elliott just can't get a break this year.
Oh, they sure can. They're racing back to the line. Let's see. Rusty Wallace will win the race back. Mark Martin is 2nd, Earnhardt 3rd.
And John Kernan has more on Bill Elliott.
Well, I was talking with Mike Beam today, and he said that they have had probably the worst luck that anybody can ever remember on the Winston Cup circuit after the type of year Bill had last year, his inaugural season with Junior Johnson. Mike and Bill both say this toughness, the bad luck, it shows you what you're really made of. They're not giving up. They're going to keep working harder and harder and harder, and they'll be back to get him at North Wilkesboro.
He's currently 23rd in the point standings. Last year at this time, he had already won 4 races. Now, the front pits begin to get busy after Bill Elliott's spin up there and crash up in turn number 2. Here's Jerry once again with the call of the pit stop.
You saw Rusty Wallace slow down and almost stop in the middle of pit road. He did that because the rules preclude him from being able to pass the safety car, which is running parallel to him on the racetrack. He would have been penalized. A very wise move by a veteran driver. Now they put left side tires on the car. They have a large tire mark on the left front fender just behind the left front wheel. They pulled that tire mark out. Here is Dale Earnhardt down pit road with your Rudd, Davey Allison, and of course Mark Martin. Back to turn 1.
Meanwhile, over in turn number 2, the ambulance took over there, but I think that Bill is okay. Benny?
I tell you what, Mark Martin, I talked to the guys before and said he needs to stop shorter. He's getting too close to Earnhardt. This time he stopped, but he stopped. The back end was hanging over that yellow line. So when they changed the right sides, the NASCAR official made him push the car forward before he could go around and change the left sides, which cost him more seconds. And you can see all those cars going by. He lost 4 or 5 spots because of that stopping too short.
Mark Martin rejoining the race, and Ernie Irvan also will come back out when we go green in a few moments at Bristol.
This weekend at Haynes, do bring money. Save up to 50% off retail prices store-wide. But do bring money. Because when you pay by cash or check, for the first time ever, you'll save even more, a lot more. An additional cash discount, so substantial in fact, we may never offer it again. This one and only weekend, save a fortune while cash is king.
Tommy and the Bull present FM 99 WNOR. And WNOR not. WNOR. WNOR not. FM 99 WNOR. Just the best rock and roll and nothing else.
It's all live tonight on ESPN.
Back live at Bristol International Raceway in Tennessee for the NASCAR Winston Cup Food City 500, which is 313 laps in out of 500. Getting set for a restart after an incident involving Bill Elliott. He's okay. He had contact with the wall in turn number 2.
Here's the last pit stop, and here comes Davey Allison already moving. A great pit stop on his part. Rusty Wallace, Dale Earnhardt, and Davey Allison comes out from where? 7th spot to 3rd spot on the pit stop.
Now, Jimmy Spencer did not make a pit stop until after they did. He led the race. He stayed out there and led the race, as a matter of fact. And so now Rusty Wallace is back in the lead.
There we see Mark Martin on the line. Meanwhile, we're fixing to go green flag, Bob.
Green flag comes out, back to racing. Now Rusty Wallace has a couple of cars ahead of him trying to get laps back. Wally Dallenbach, he'll dispose of him or try to down the backstretch, and Michael Waltrip is also.
Ricky Rudd has a problem with the 5 car, the Tide Chevrolet. Boy, he went very high in turns 1 and 2, going high in turns 3 and 4. Everybody going by him. He had come out in the 4th position, but Ricky Rudd having problems. Jeff Bodine goes back out on the racetrack now as we watch Rudd going very, very slowly. There you see Sterling Marlin is back after major repairs to that car once again.
Rudd may have lost a cylinder, you think, or well,
he's lost
coming
more
in.
than that.
Yeah, it's more than that.
Yep.
Here comes Rusty trying to get on the inside of Michael Waltrip, and he does put Michael a lap down again.
Puts him
2 laps down.
2 or 3, yeah. And Rudd is in the pits. Here's John.
Very unfortunate for Ricky Rudd. Apparently it cut down a right front tire. Gary Dehart and the crew putting on right side tires, waiting for the lug nuts to go on. Rudd is down and away, but losing some valuable positions out on the racetrack. In fact, as he goes out pit road, Rusty Wallace puts him down a lap.
Tough break for the 2nd week in a row for Ricky Rudd. Car has run well, but doesn't go the distance.
He's been right up there in the top 10 all day. I think that only put Michael Waltrip 1 lap down. He had stayed out there and was at the head of the pack. He had gotten lapped when he got involved in that spin over there, but I think he's only 1 lap down. He's currently being shown in the 10th position.
1 lap down, you're right, Ned.
Rusty Wallace continuing to lead. The Unical bonus is worth $60,800 if Rusty Wallace, who is our pole sitter, can go on and win this race. And we're 179 laps from the finish.
Well, I think the only car that's passed him today was Mark Martin, and Mark came out of the pits very late there. In fact, he's being shown right now in the 3rd position, but he came out like 5th. but he's passed a couple of cars now, so he's pretty far behind Rusty.
Morgan Shepherd and Kyle Petty are in a good battle for position.
And right in front of them is Darrell Waltrip. That predicts Darrell is in 6th. That's 6th, 7th, and 8th. Darrell gets on the inside of Rick Mast, the Skoal Classic car.
Now Rick is a lap down. He's in 14th position. 2 laps down, actually.
Rick stays up out of the way. Lets all the cars go by on the inside.
Here's the roof cam and the telemetry.
Morgan Shepherd's car. Let's see, down to 96 miles per hour. He accelerates down the front straightaway.
And 125 to the top. Climbing on the brake.
8,100.
I thought they'd run a little faster than that on the straightaway.
Well, Ned,
some of them do.
Some of them do. Morgan Shepherd's car is off the pace of, well, I saw 8,300 that time, so the car is not nearly as good as it was early in the race, so to sit go forward. We'll see Lake Speed's Purex car on the inside.
And Wally Dallenbach in the Keystone Beer. That's Rick Wilson.
Sorry, that was
Wally Dallenbach having a good run here today, currently being shown in 13th position.
Morgan comes up on the inside of Wally. And here comes Kyle Petty right behind him.
Yes, closes it right on the back bumper of Morgan. But Morgan squirted away down the straightaway like he's really getting off the corner well, and Kyle was a little bit loose, pushing or something off the corner. Look at Kyle close up on the back bumper of that car through the corner.
Now Kyle to the inside in the backstretch. He has a half a car length going into 3. They go through the corner side by side, and now Kyle takes over that position.
That would be 7th position.
And Kyle really runs fast through the middle of the corner, but he has trouble, seems to have trouble getting off the corner, like there might be something wrong with his car.
Here's the green flag average, 108.096 when you factor out the caution laps that we have run. The right front on Kyle's car may be going down, we hear.
Really? He's able to keep it right down on the bottom of the racetrack, though. John Curtin, what do you know about that?
Robin Pemberton and the crew and the spotter upstairs are watching very anxiously, along with Felix Savadas as Kyle flashes by in the front straightaway. He goes into the corner, said it feels like the right front tire is softening, that it's slowly losing air pressure. They is staying out on the racetrack right now. As soon as Kyle feels that he should come in, he will come down on pit road, but right now he is staying out there.
Doesn't seem to be slowing him down any right now.
He's still running at a pretty good clip. Let's see what he does when he goes up on the outside of Ernie Irvin. Now that's when, if the car is pushing, that's when it really tells. Morgan Shepherd moves right back up on him, and he had to go around there rather gingerly.
Meanwhile, Jimmy Spencer is right on the back bumper of this car.
Yeah, this is a 3-car battle for position here.
Spencer and Morgan have had some pretty good battles out there today. Spencer pitting on the backstretch. There's still 2 cars on one lap that are pitting on the backstretch, and that is Darrell Waltrip and Jimmy Spencer. So we're watching 7th, 8th, and 9th.
It's hard to believe that the car is low on the racetrack as he is if he had a right front tire going down.
Yeah, it really is hard to believe it.
Rusty Wallace continues to lead this race with 336 laps completed over Dale Earnhardt, Mark Martin, Davey Allison, and Derek Cope.
Burt Reynolds talks with the Quaker State team.
Hold on. I got to get my name on the car. My fans are getting restless.
No room.
How about on the big Q?
The big Q stands alone. Stands for quality.
You can't get better protection.
No other oil beats Quaker State.
How about right here?
No way. Red doesn't like to be crowded.
My fans are getting demanding.
All right. We'll go get the painter.
I must have had a hard time finding the painter. Nothing beats Quaker State. It's one tough motor oil.
Oil. It's the lifeblood of your engine. That makes your oil filter your engine's most vital organ. That's why Fram keeps going the extra mile to make the best protection even better. The Fram Extra Guard oil filter. Unique glass fiber paper stops more dirt than any other filter for the best protection ever. Fram Extra Guard. American or import, it's an extra lease on life.
College basketball's annual celebration is larger than the Final Four teams. ESPN takes you behind the scenes in New Orleans for the deals, the hopes, and the frenzy. Outside the Lines, Days of Madness, Tuesday at 9 Eastern on ESPN.
It's opening day. The Florida Marlins play their first game ever as they battle the Dodgers. Then Doug Drabek leads the new-look Astros against the Phillies. Tomorrow at 2 Eastern on ESPN.
Our next NASCAR Winston Cup race will be 2 weeks from today, Sunday, April 18th at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. That's 10 Pacific, live from North Wilkesboro, North Carolina, the First Union 400, where Davey Allison is defending champion. Our Speed World coverage of this race is being brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil. And by Fram Oil Filters. Fram, you can pay a little now or a lot later. We're under caution again, and that's the reason. We have some debris on the backstretch. On the front stretch, it is busy in terms of pit stop activity. Here's John Kernan.
Davey Allison's last 2 pit stops, his crew has been so fast, and now the fall down with the jack. His crew has been so fast that they have picked up 8 spots on the racetrack. Now let's go down to Rusty's pit and Jerry Park.
Right side tires are already on, left side on. Rusty is down and away. We're waiting for Earnhardt to come by. Here comes the Goodrich Chevrolet. Here comes Davey, but Mark Martin will beat Davey Allison down pit road. And here's the Bojangles car of Derek Cope headed back in front of Kyle Petty.
Morgan Shepherd beat them all out, but I think he only took on gas in the go forward. Morgan is not one of those that's led so far today, so I guess he wants to lead the race.
Inside Morgan Shepherd's car as he lines up, getting ready for a restart here in Bristol, but it'll be a couple of more laps. We'll be right back.
We started a revolution in the streets. And now it's hitting the water. Introducing the Yamaha Wave Blaster. Essentially, it's the world's most radically advanced bike. Now available on the water. Do you know the tax laws?
I have interest in tax laws, but that is not an area that I feel comfortable with.
I feel ignorance about them, which of course ignorance breeds fear.
We don't have to know the tax laws. We can turn that over to H&R Block and let them do it for us.
Income taxes are all we do. Let America's tax team take the worry out of your taxes.
H&R Block takes care of me.
It's one less hassle in life.
H&R Block, America's tax team.
If atomic particles had been square instead of round, it probably wouldn't have happened. If it had been a wet cell instead of a dry cell, it's doubtful. And if the positive terminal had been negative, who knows? There might never have been a battery called Energizer or the Energizer Bunny. But luckily, everything happened just right.
ESPN Speed World at the Food City 500 Bristol International Raceway under caution. Morgan Shepherd will have the lead when we go back to caution, and this is why we are under this caution period. Another weight has fallen out of a car and landed on the racetrack, and the NASCAR inspector checking that over to see if there's a number on it to determine what car it might have fallen out of. Now, where would that be in terms of location on the race car?
Probably stuck in the left frame rail. They have little caps that go over to hold them in there, and maybe that cap broke or the bolt broke to hold the cap on, and it just slid out of the frame rail. Now then, they position them in that frame rail, and obviously they don't fill the whole frame rail up with lead because that would be too much. So to take the space up that's not required by lead, they put 2x4s in there.
Oh, we darn.
So in Richmond, the 40 car, Kenny Wallace, the 2x4 caught on fire.
Oh, no kidding.
Caught on fire, so we had to make a pit stop to put the 2x4 up.
I'll be darned. Okay, here we go back to green. Morgan Shepherd is the leader. Rusty is second, then Earnhardt, Martin, and Davey Allison. And Morgan makes sure he gets off the caution flag quickly down to the inside of the racetrack.
Well, we was watching him battle for 7th, 8th, and 9th. Wood Brothers made a quick pit stop. I didn't see any tires when he pulled out of the pits. I don't think he changed
Rusty got up high, and Earnhardt and Martin both able to get by.
He got caught up on the outside and lost 2 positions. Earnhardt moved to 2nd, Martin to 3rd, and Rusty's back to 4th.
Man, oh man.
And they should be able to go the rest of the way as far as their fuel is concerned. There's 150 couple of laps to go, and they should be able to go that far if there's not another caution.
And the Earnhardt's on the inside of Ricky Rudd. Rudd, one of the cars that's a couple of laps down.
And a little bit of a surge, it looked like, going into 1.
Remember, he had a flat tire. Ricky Rudd did, the Tide Chevrolet.
He is 2 laps down, currently being shown in the 11th position.
Now separating 1st and 2nd is Brett Bodine in the 26th.
And Brett trying to get one of his laps back. And I tell you what, man, he's on the inside of Morgan Shepherd. He may get it done.
He may do it. He does.
Now Earnhardt's coming on. This is for the lead.
And Earnhardt, is this the first time he's
ready to get back to the start-finish line to get 5 bonus points.
And Rusty Wallace comes along also. 3rd position.
And Dale Earnhardt, GM Goodrich Chevrolet, led a lap. He now has the 5 bonus points like everyone else.
Earnhardt, the points leader going into this race.
Now Brett moves down to the inside, gives Earnhardt some running room.
Here comes Martin on the inside.
Yeah, that may not be a smart move. Mark almost got to the inside of Earnhardt, but couldn't. Now let's see what happens as they go through the 4th corner. Again, Earnhardt goes up the track a little bit, but maintains the lead.
Now you see Brett is giving him race room up there, but Brett is running very fast down on the inside, and it is tough to pass up there.
Here comes Mark. Is he going to try it again? Mark is afraid to go on the inside, afraid he'll get humped or something behind Brett Bodine, and Rusty Wallace will get behind as well.
Now Brett slowed down a little more that time going into the turn. Earnhardt was able to get all the way up there. He'll make the pass now and be able to get back on the inside going into turn 3. Now Mark Martin has Brett to pass.
And he will do so coming down the front stretch. This is from Mark Martin's Olympic stain in-car camera. He's 2nd.
Going in turn 1, and he closes up, gets closer and closer to our leader, Dale Earnhardt.
Here's Shepard, Davey Allison, Derek Cope, and Kyle Petty. All of them on the same lap, battling for position, and not too far behind this group was Darrell Waltrip. And back.
Oh, a little contact there. Brett Bodine got it out of shape.
And him, Ricky Rudd, are racing for position. They're both 2 laps down. Now Ricky Rudd is moved on the way. Brett's car gets a little bit more loose and he gets on the high side, so the frame will go by.
Yep. Just like we'll see in Talladega a few weeks from now when we go there on the 2.6-mile track. It's the same difference. Oh, and Kenny Wallace spins in turn 2.
And here comes Mark Martin back to the line. They're racing to the line. It's Earnhardt wins it.
And Kenny let his car slide down the banking out of harm's way. Now Ernie Irvin spins.
No caution.
The leader. No caution yet.
Everybody is down on the apron of the track, although Irvin's car is headed in the wrong direction.
Still no caution.
Here we go.
Now caution flag comes out, but Mark Martin has the lead.
Mark Martin got around Dale Earnhardt, so Martin is the leader.
Morgan Shepherd's going to have to come in and get some tires, I believe.
You think so?
I would think so, because those cars that did take on tires were able to move around him pretty quickly. Now, he accomplished what he wanted to do, and that is to go out and lead, so he'd get 5 bonus points. And the Wood brothers are getting ready. So Morgan is
here
coming
comes
in.
Morgan, yep. And here is a replay when Mark Martin was able to get the lead.
Earnhardt backed off. I'm sure the spotter said that there's a car spinning up there. Earnhardt backed off. Mark Martin kept going and got the lead.
Morgan Shepherd in. Here's John.
It'll be a 4-tire change for Morgan Shepherd. I talked to Eddie Wood a little while ago on that last pit stop. They took on fuel only. Eddie said it was because the other pit stops, they would come in because they were so far behind. They wanted to get up front and see what they could do now. Also, we said it earlier, Joe, some of the teams have been put on weight training programs. Well, the Wood brothers are one of those teams.
Our encouragement last week of some of the teams to get into shape must have done some good. Now here is Kenny Wallace spinning.
He spun around and just smacks the wall just a little bit, and he comes down out of harm's way.
Now on the right.
We'll see the 4-car come into the picture just a second spinning, but I don't think he has any brakes. I don't think the 4-car could stop the car, and he got up real high. Was trying to take evasive action because of the car spinning. And the way he stopped the car when he went behind the wall, I think the brakes are completely gone.
Now here are the cars that are not on the lead lap in the pits, and behind the wall is the Kodak Chevrolet once again with Ernie Irvan. There you see Ricky Rudd's car remaining on pit road. Now he's down and away as we get set to go back to action in just a moment at Bristol.
Mountain man survival skills. The basics. A true mountain man must have a keen sense of direction, a certain physical dexterity, and a talent for surviving the most unforgiving climates. Of course, nothing is more key to a mountain man's survival than plenty of smooth bush beer and easy drinking bush light. So, head for the mountains and learn how the mountain man survives even the most grueling conditions.
Pleasant trip, Mr. Conklin. Your room's ready. Full kitchen. Comfy living room with fireplace. It's heaven. We think so. After all, you'll be staying with us for quite a while.
Tell me, do all business travelers come here?
Oh, no. I'm afraid some are sent to other hotel rooms.
Residence Inn by Marriott, the extended stay hotel.
When 280 seemed out of reach, it's Joe Amato and Autolite who punch it.
So good.
The wall goes to 290. Connie Coletta and Autolite smash it. 300, the barrier. Kenny Bernstein and Autolite shatter it.
So good.
Autolite and the Record Breakers.
Wow, I feel good.
We feel pretty good about that.
Well, you've only missed about a lap and a quarter under green, and here is Martin sliding up, and Dale Earnhardt taking the lead, and Rusty Wallace taking second.
I think Mark's car was pushing a little bit, and he's having to slow down a little bit more in the turns than Earnhardt. Here's the Rudd.
Spins in 4, brings the car to the inside, almost slides into a passenger car down there, and scattering everybody. Obviously, couldn't get the car stopped. Boy, that was close. I don't know what kind of a car that is down there, but it looks like a foreign exotic job that probably costs as much as the race car.
It shouldn't be parked there, obviously.
Looks like Jeff Gordon and Michael Waltrip may have gotten laps back as they cross the line. What kind of a car is that, you know?
Oh, looks like a spider. What is a spider?
I don't know.
It's a thing with 8 legs as far as I know. Anyway. Here it is again. Watch Rudd as he went into the third corner.
He's on the outside. Is that Brett Bodine?
Yeah.
He goes down, and they just make some contact. And around Rudd goes up, smacks the wall, comes down. He lets off the brakes now. He's going to drive it back to the pits, and all of a sudden the thing goes out of control again for some reason and heads right for that little car. Man.
A couple of photographers there, about 4 of them, have to scatter out of the way.
And just before that happened, here is how Earnhardt got the lead and Rusty went to second.
He goes in, gets in the back of Mark Martin. Martin has to go up the hill to save the race car. And Earnhardt and Rusty both able to get by.
So that's the way they are now, lined up behind the pace car as the wrecker has arrived at Ricky Rudd's car to pull it from the racing surface. We'll be back in just a moment.
Casey, Cycle City, Newport News.
Raceway Souvenirs, your source for NASCAR and Winston Cup racing souvenirs. Just about anything for the racing fan, including race team jackets, T-shirts, Winston Cup sweatshirts, unique glassware sets, collector plates, and all kinds of hats. Racing collectibles are our specialty. Hard to find die-cast miniatures from today in NASCAR history, ready to assemble kits, and racing collector cards. We've even got racing bottled water. Raceway Souvenirs in Hampton, West Mercury Boulevard between Captain George's and Pizza Hut.
Week on Speed Week, we'll have highlights of the Indy cars at Phoenix, NASCAR at Bristol, and a USAC doubleheader from Winchester. Speed Week, Saturday night at 7:30 Eastern. Well, the race teams have brought out their heavy artillery for this one, but you need this on a day like today, huh, here at Bristol?
I'll tell you, yeah, that's not a tank, I don't guess, but you probably do need something like that out there.
Some kind of amphibious vehicle, I would guess. Part of the Persian Gulf War, maybe. Anyway, it's parked down here between turns 1 and 2, and
there's Rudd's car being towed back to the behind pit wall.
See quite a bit of damage to the left rear of the Tide Chevrolet.
Meanwhile, we are about to go green once again with 372 laps completed. And the enthusiastic race fans, as they always are here at Bristol, are enjoying a great race. Here is Dale Earnhardt leading Rusty Wallace, Mark Martin, Davey Allison, and Darrell Waltrip, who is 5th. Can you believe that?
No, I really can't. Now starting 35th and pitting on the back.
Now, none of them made pit stops, the leaders at least. So that indicates that they are planning to go the rest of the way. They got something got enough fuel to go the rest of the way.
Rusty Wallace is about to take the lead from Earnhardt. Tried to get it down the backstretch. Rusty has the preferred inside line and takes the lead back from Dale.
This looks like 89 and 90 all over again, Ned, doesn't it?
It sure does. We saw those guys race many, many times, battle back and forth.
And it just follows up the comment that we had during last week's race, and that is black is black. Not necessarily Earnhardt black, but Rusty Wallace black as well, and Davey Allison. Jerry?
Richard Childers just told me that Earnhardt's car seems to be a little bit tight on brand new tires. They put tires on about 20 laps ago. Need about 30 to 40, even closer to 50 laps for the car really to come in and get some of that push out. So right now, he's battling a little bit of a push in the corner.
We're inside Martin's car, and we still see the hood where it's pushed up. He made contact early, and he goes right by Earnhardt.
Easily.
Just goes right by.
Martin is second.
I think Earnhardt's car maybe did push up a little too high off of turn 4, and Martin took advantage of it.
Rusty is checking out.
Ned, you reckon that Earnhardt could have moved over and let Martin go because of getting into him a few laps ago?
Well, I don't know. Could be.
Sure looks that way.
Certainly didn't race him.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. And they did make some, when Earnhardt got by before, there was some contact.
Yeah, he could have just gentlemanly moved over and let him go. Because Martin is faster right now than Earnhardt. You see he's able to pull away a little bit once he got around.
Now the next question, can that blue and white car catch the black car?
I believe he can.
And Ricky Rudd has gone over to talk with the Brett Bodine pit crew. There was contact between those two drivers, causing Rudd's car to hit the wall, and obviously tempers again running a little high here as Ricky has gone over to talk with the Kenny Bernstein led and owned team.
Tell you what, looks like Mark is getting a little closer, just a little closer.
Here's a Fram field summary. There you see Darrell Waltrip in 5th position, Kyle Petty 6th, Derek Cope 7th. There are 9 cars on the lead lap. Here are Allison, Waltrip, and Kyle Petty.
Ernie Irvin going back out once again. And Kyle Petty moves on the inside of Darrell Waltrip and just takes the position.
So he moves to 5th.
Puts Darrell back in 6th place.
Ernie Irvin is back out there. You can see running very slow.
Oh, and a crash up in turn 1.
2
Heavy
cars.
contact. Bobby Labonte
And Harry Gant. And again, we are slowed because of a crash.
Is that the 16th caution?
I believe it's 15.
15 caution plates.
The record, of course, is here at Bristol. It's 20. And I'm not so sure but what we won't come close to equaling that or breaking it today. We've got a little over 100 laps to go. Anyway, Bobby Labonte's car, the Maxwell House Ford, is heavily damaged on just about all 4 corners, it looks like.
Yeah, both ends certainly, and yeah, every corner of it.
Harry Gant was also involved. The pace car has the field lined up. We'll see if we have any pit stops.
Yep,
yes.
Here comes Rusty. Here they all come.
Yep.
Yeah, once the leader comes in, they got to come in and get those tires.
Here's Jerry Punch to call this series of pit stops.
And Ned, you're exactly right. Once Rusty Wallace makes a determination to come on the pit road, the other top cars are pretty much obligated to follow him down. Here's Wallace in the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac. He will get 4 tires. Sitting about 30 feet behind him, the Goodrich Chevrolet of Earnhardt. Right behind him, Mark Martin's Valvoline Ford. The front 3 cars now getting left side tires. We'll see who's going to win this race off pit road. Martin's lug nuts on. Here's Rusty Wallace. 17.1 seconds. Davey Allison comes down. Here is Kyle Petty, Dale Earnhardt, and Mark Martin now leaving his pits headed back to turn 1.
Hey, we haven't had the clock on this crew right here, Davey Allison, but they've made some fantastic pit stops.
Yeah, remember
today.
earlier in the race they had some excellent pit stops.
They have made some great pit stops. You know,
16.8 on Davey, John, is that right?
That's exactly right, Bob. 16.86 if you want to get into the hundredths of a second. Now, earlier I told you the last pit stop when the jack man fell over the tire, that slowed that pit stop down. But the 2 previous pit stops under caution, they had picked up 8 positions going from 11th place all the way up to 3rd place. So Davey Allison has moved up to 2nd by virtue of a very fast pit stop. Rusty Wallace leading here at Bristol. We will be back with more in a moment.
Oil. It's the lifeblood of your engine. That makes your oil filter your engine's most vital organ. That's why Fram keeps going the extra mile to make the best protection even better. The Fram Extra Guard oil filter. Unique glass fiber paper stops more dirt than any other filter for the best protection ever. Fram Extra Guard. American or import, it's an extra lease on life.
Performax from Pennzoil. New synthetic motor oil with Pennzoil's exclusive star molecule. Protects engine parts at ignition. Works like liquid ball bearings. Hangs tough during the most extreme driving conditions. Flows in severe cold. Performax from Pennzoil. Keeps it cool in extreme heat. Performax from Pennzoil. Fights against failure at friction max out. Performax. Protects to the max.
The puck drops here. National Hockey Night on ESPN.
National Hockey Night. Super scorer Brett Hull leads the Blues as they're locked in a tight playoff battle in the Norris Division. The Blues face the North Stars. Saturday Night Live on ESPN National Hockey Night.
Dr. Jerry's Harley Davidson. I didn't know you owned a Harley Davidson store in Sharon, Pennsylvania, Dr. Jerry, but the t-shirt says you do. That must be another Dr. Jerry. Getting ready for a restart. Here's Davies' pit stall.
That's a huge advantage because, you see, we've seen the cars get blocked in. It's impossible for Davey to get blocked in. There's an opening there. Plus, the 2 cars that were pitted in front of him are out of the race. Yep. So he can drive. You could drive a Mack truck out of there almost.
He's got all kinds of room. About to go racing again on lap 392 with 391 complete. There's the capacity crowd looking on as the green flies again, and Rusty Wallace jumps to the lead quickly. Davey is now 2nd, followed by Kyle Petty, Dale Earnhardt, and Mark Martin.
You know, all over most of the United States, Good Friday is a holiday. In North Carolina, it's Monday that's a holiday. But neither one of those days is going to be a holiday at Jack Roush's shop in Liberty. They're going to be practicing pit stops. Rusty's just driving away from Davis.
Yeah, he is.
You know, Rusty's really getting a break because his primary competition. Here's a race between Spencer and Darrell, and Darrell gets hung up behind Dallenbach. Spencer gets by. Both these cars, Darrell was running up about the 6th spot, but since he's pitted on the back straightaway on the caution flag, he had to go back to the end of the line, and he's now running 8th.
Actually, I believe that moved him back to 9th. Spencer moved up to 8th. Derek Cope is 7th. Morgan Shepherd is 6th.
And that's how far they are behind Dale Earnhardt, who is in 4th position. There's 3rd place Petty, 2nd place Allison, and the leader Rusty Wallace.
Boy, he has checked out on
He has put himself almost a half a straightaway ahead of Davey Allison already. $60,800 in Unical bonus money up for grabs. There once again is the Bojangles 4 driven by Derek Cope out of the Cale Yarborough stable, and that car and that driver have both turned in outstanding performances. And just as we say that, he spins.
He was running 7th. Michael Waltrip, they made contact, but Derek had lost the car. It looked like the back end got loose, and then he got into Michael.
Well, that is a shame because, as we said, that car...
I told you don't say nothing about that. Now, didn't I tell you that?
Yeah, you did. Sorry about that.
Here's Michael Waltrip. He's trying to get back
to the start-finish line ahead of the pace car. Let's see if he can do. I don't know if he can.
Now, there was no contact between Derek and anybody. He just lost it coming out of 2 and then slid down into the Michael Waltrip car, and Darrell just missed.
That's a tough break for Rusty Wallace because his huge lead.
Yep.
Never see Cope again. He gets a little bit high and gets out of that groove a little bit, got the car going, and just never could get the back end back. Michael makes a little bit of contact, just enough that he goes around, and Darrell goes between the 2 yellow cars along with someone else, and then a bunch of cars goes through the middle.
I thought that by sliding down into Michael that Derek might have saved the car, but he didn't. It spun down to the inside and made contact with the wall, crunching it in the front end. Lap 399, we're on our 16th caution. Boy, have we seen some damaged cars today. You can bet that the crews are going to be working overtime rebuilding them. Remember last week we started our building feature? Well, here's part 2 with Benny.
Last week on our car building process, we built this chassis. This week, we're going to add the sheet metal. Now, to help me out, I'm bringing in Eddie Dickerson, who's a fab shop manager for Hendrick Motorsports. Eddie, what's the first thing you do?
Well, Benny, right here, Greg has simply ran strings down the side of the car. They're parallel with the frame rail. This just gives us something to measure from. You've got to get the wheels, the tires, the suspension package. It's got to all be exactly where we want it so we can cover this thing up with some sheet metal. We've got all kinds of tools in the shop. This is an English wheel. It's just used to shape the front fender. Shrinkers and stretchers, that's what we do. That's how we make our fenders.
And folks, he's calling this a fender. Watch this. I would call it I don't know what I would call it. Where does it go, from the center of the tire forward?
That's right, Benny. That's our front fender. We got a rear quarter pound. Starts at the center of the rear tire. It goes to the back bumper. And then all those doors you tore off while you were racing, Benny, that's what we got in the middle.
That one piece was the door?
That's right. This is a template right here. This is our roof template. That's a NASCAR spec. It's got to fit.
And now they're welding the pieces together. What's the red thing on front of the fender?
Those are Clecos. They're just temporary fasteners. They hold the whole car together while we're welding it up.
So the body is done, the chassis is done. I tell you, while they finish the rest of this, get all the bond building, paint, I'm going next door and build an engine next week.
What did he say about you tearing the fenders off cars, Benny?
Doors, he said.
Oh,
doors.
well, doesn't make any difference.
I did one in 1973, tore a door right off the right side of my car.
Well, we have seen a lot of sheet metal damaged, and here's some more. Michael Waltrip, who was involved in that incident out there with Derek Cope, drove it around, then lost a wheel pulling out and further damaged the car. And look at this, the front clip missing on a couple of cars, including Jeff Bodine and Sterling Marlin. There is Ernie Irvin, who is also showing some battle scars here late in the going of the Food City 500.
Mirror, mirror on the wall.
The Suzuki Intruder.
With each new day, you find a way to be your best.
Gillette sensor for the closest, safest shave ever.
You know you gotta be a little better than the rest.
Only sensor has spring-mounted twin blades that adjust to every detail of every face. Gillette sensor. And now there's Gillette shaving gel with advanced lubricants for an incredibly smooth shave.
Gillette, the best a man can get.
Hey, Hannon, lunch.
Hey, all right.
No. I mean, see what everybody wants.
2 cheeseburgers and quarter pounder with cheese.
Large fry?
Big Mac.
Make it 2.
Got it, kid.
With McDonald's Extra Value Meals, you can order your favorite food by number. Served up fast, guaranteed. What you want is what you get at McDonald's today.
Hannon, nice job. It's yours from now on.
How far will your money go in buying an Intruder 800? Introducing Suzuki Get On It Flexible Financing. Want to see it again? Other programs include 0 down, low monthly payments, and first-time buyer. Get on it.
Again, just as you rejoined us, we get the green flag and resume racing. And once again, Rusty Wallace gets a great jump on the field and pulls ahead of everyone. Second place now is Davey Allison. Kyle Petty is third. Mark Martin fourth, and Earnhardt is fifth.
When did Mark Martin get in front of Earnhardt, Nick? Didn't he come out behind Earnhardt a moment ago?
No, he must have made a pass on him. Or maybe it's that caution is coming out or something is coming back to the line. Now, Rusty Wallace, another huge lead, as you mentioned, Bob. One thing that helps him to do that, he's the first car on the outside. The lap cars are down on the inside. He's quickly able to get out there, get down to the inside in the groove. Yep. The others have to pass the lap cars on the outside, as we mentioned earlier. That's the 1 to 2 seconds a lap.
And Earnhardt almost ran right in the back of Mark Martin. Oh, and Martin and Kyle Petty gets together. Earnhardt pulls up on the outside, and here they come side by side.
This is the battle for fourth position. Kyle Petty is just ahead in third.
Earnhardt knows that's not the place to be, and he backs off and gets back behind Mark Martin.
It looks like Kyle's car faltered a couple of times in that lap, causing this jam up. But he's okay now.
Now they're pulling on the back of Brett Bodine again. This is looking from Brett Bodine's car back, and I think that's what happened a while ago. Kyle Petty was trying to get position on Brett Bodine and slowed a little bit, and here's Mark trying on the outside. Not able to make the pass.
We're watching all this action along with an Autolite Field summary, and now Earnhardt goes inside of Mark.
But he's going to run up on Brett Bodine, who has moved to the inside to get out of their way. Now Brett goes all the way out of the way. Wow, and Earnhardt splits them.
They went 3 abreast into one. You don't do that.
But that was a gutsy move on Earnhardt's part.
But, yeah, also, but Brett Bodine did a very good thing there. He hit the brakes, got down on the flat going into that corner so as to not mess those fellas up.
And meanwhile, as we watch all this, Rusty Wallace has a complete straightaway lead on second place, which right now is Davey Allison.
And Mark Martin takes over fourth from Kyle Petty. I think there's something wrong with Kyle's car.
Yeah, his car is just not right.
Yeah, it's gone away from him.
Because you can see that Earnhardt passed and is already pulled away by 15, 20 car lengths on this group.
And Morgan Shepherd and Rusty Wallace are closing in on Kyle, while Rusty, again, is just pulling away from everyone with about a half a straightaway advantage now on Davey.
I'll tell you what, if there isn't another caution flag, nobody's going to catch Rusty Wallace unless he has mechanical problems.
Nope, he is gone.
John Kernan, how about that 42 car?
Well, Bob, Kyle has been complaining about the last 100, 150 laps that the car is very, very loose. Now they've made adjustments on pit stops. Nothing seems to help. So they're just going to have to ride it out. But right now, Kyle is fighting an ill-handling race car. It's very, very loose.
Yeah, he sure is. He's staying ahead of Shepard and Darrell Waltrip.
Looks like Mark Martin's car is going away, Ned, because he just isn't able to close in like he did before.
No, and Kyle is moving back up on him. Once again, Earnhardt has pulled away from him since we saw that little three-car battle there a moment ago. So, yes, his car does not look like it's...
And Morgan Shepard gets sideways in turn 3 and loses 2 positions to Waltrip and Spencer.
Now, these guys have raced most of the day. All 3 of these fellas.
6th, 7th, and 8th. Now Darrell has moved into 6th. Spencer is 7th, and Morgan Shepard 8th.
Now let's go inside Mark Martin's car, actually on the roof, and see how this pass occurred.
There we see Earnhardt's on the inside. He gets on the inside of Kyle Petty. Brett Bodine, as Ned said, sees him. Gets off the gas and he gets squeezed in there.
And Kyle had to back off out there also because that was a smart thing for him to do. He's going to be in the wall if he doesn't back off.
That is called threading the needle. Jimmy Means is still out there. He's, let's see, 17th.
The Napa Auto Parts Ford.
This is one of the races at Daytona and here at Bristol that Napa Auto Parts are sponsoring Jimmy.
Tell you what, Darrell Walker's getting a little racy because he's closing in on the back of Kyle Petty. That would be 5th place if he could pass him. And I tell you what, Darrell is praying for green flag the rest of the day because
there's
less he comes out, he's in trouble because he has to wait till all these guys pit before he can go in.
There's less of a disadvantage pitting on the backstretch if you pit under green, of course.
No, in fact, there's no disadvantage.
Yeah.
If pit stops made under green. Of course, they should not have to make another pit stop now. But if the caution comes out, they probably will. Michael Waltrip changed right side tires on the Pensol Pontiac. He continues to have his problems here today.
And Jerry Punch has a report on Mark Martin.
Spoke with Steve Meal just a minute ago. Apparently the report is that they may have a fender rubbing a tire on the Valvoline Ford. That car certainly has some sheet metal damage, but that's why Mark has backed off for a few laps and cannot run the car real hard in the corners. They're concerned about possibly rubbing a tire on the car number 6.
Jerry, I can see some damage to the right front. The outside of the right front, I can see some damage to that, and maybe it is rubbing the tire. There we can see where it's right on where the front part meets the fender that we saw just a moment ago. That's pushed in against the tire.
Boy, he's got to be very concerned about that too, because you blow a right front tire on this racetrack, depending on the part of the racetrack that you were on, it can hurt. There you see Derek Cope back out there running, but certainly at a reduced speed over what he was running earlier when he was running up there in the lead lap.
There we see Mark Martin, and there's Rusty Wallace, our leader, almost a half lap down now for Martin, and Kyle Petty's about to pass him.
Wallace in traffic, passing Sterling Marlin. There's the interval back to 3rd position.
Earnhardt might be gaining a little bit on Davey Allison. He still has good ways to go to catch him. But right now, there's nothing but daylight between them as Rusty goes on the outside of Ernie Irvin.
How about an on-track interval here, timing Rusty Wallace and Dale Earnhardt? The interval shrunk between laps 415 and 419 from 1.7 seconds to 1.2 seconds. And Earnhardt was faster rather than Wallace slowing down.
Yeah, that's right. Earnhardt now, after a few laps, his car is starting to run well. Like Ned Jarrett pointed out earlier, when the car's really tight, it hurts you for the first few laps, but after you get a few laps on them, then your car becomes faster than some of your competition. And Mark Martin is going backwards.
Yep, sure is.
And Darrell Waltrip has passed him now. Kyle Petty passed him a few laps ago, as Benny pointed out. And here's Darrell Waltrip going by. So that moves Mark back to the 6th position.
Darrell goes to 5th and Mark back to 6th spot. And here is Jimmy Spencer also passing Mark Martin. So that car has completely gone away.
It sure has.
Well, running 1st and 2nd, Rusty Wallace and Davey Allison. Remember, in 1990, Rusty beat number 6 car, Davey beat the number 6 car by about 8 inches. This year, however, it looks like that Rusty Wallace has things in hand. We'll be right back.
Engine performance to the max. Performax from Pennzoil. Drain interval protection to the max. Performax from Pennzoil. Engine protection to the max. Performax from Pennzoil. New synthetic motor oil with Pennzoil's exclusive star molecule. Protects engine parts at ignition. Works like liquid ball bearings. Hangs tough during the most extreme driving conditions. Performax. Protects to the max.
What does it take to be a mountain man? Do you need a big horse? Do you need a deep tan? Do you have to have a saddle? Do you have to have the gear? Well, the simple truth is you just gotta have the beer.
Bush beer, an easy drinking Bush Light. Have you got what it takes to be a mountain man?
What does it take to live a mountain man's life? Get smooth Bush beer is a drinking Bush Light.
Over 1 million people each week walk into AutoZone, and taking care of them means having what they need when they need it. That means stocking a lot of parts for a lot of cars. Now, nobody can stock everything, but we stock more than most. And how do we know which ones to carry? That's easy. We listen to our customers, because nobody knows better about what you want than you. So the next time you walk through that door, you might think of yourself as a customer, but we think of you as the boss.
Back at Bristol, Mark Martin almost spun up in turn number 3, got on the brakes and has brought it down into his pit area. Jerry?
And that tire rubbing, as we had mentioned before, has taken its toll. Apparently the right front tire going down. They have changed tires, they made a chassis adjustment, and Martin is away, but it cost him a chance at victory.
Yes, it did. Of course, he lost a lap in that pit stop, and so his chances of winning are gone. Here's the battle for second now as Dale Earnhardt has caught Davey Allison.
And he moved down on the inside. Ooh, a little close going into the turn, but Davey sees him, then moves up out of the way, so Earnhardt takes over the second position. And Bob Earnhardt has been gaining on Rusty Wallace.
We've got, 50-some laps to go, but I think we could see a really good finish because Earnhardt, although he has a lot of traffic between himself and Rusty Wallace, has definitely closed in and could make a real battle out of this thing.
I might have put a fork in this bunch too quick.
That's right.
Because you're right, he's gaining on Rusty Wallace substantially.
But this traffic right here is going to hurt him.
Yep.
It's going to take a second or two off of the, he cut it down to about 2 4/10 seconds. But definitely has hurt him.
Jerry, what's Mark Martin's tire look like?
Guys, you don't think this would make your heart skip a beat? Take a look at this right front tire. It was rubbing a couple of places on the fender cutting into it here, a couple of grooves, and finally it completely cut it down. And thanks to the Goodyear Interliner, Martin was able to make it back to pit road and not slam the wall. He just lost some time and not a race car. Tough break.
Indeed. Now Dale Earnhardt, who has moved around everybody, has clear sailing as we watch Kyle Petty, Mark Martin, and Darrell Waltrip. Now Waltrip and Petty are battling for position.
Here comes Darrell on the inside, trying to get on the inside of Kyle.
Oops, they touch
a little bit. And that's for fourth. Darrell Waltrip now in fourth spot.
Man, what an afternoon he has had.
Now Earnhardt lost a second coming through that lap. He come down to about 2 4/10 seconds. Now he's about 3 4/10 seconds behind Rusty Wallace.
Waltrip has most short track wins in the modern era with 47. I don't think he's going to be able to win 48 here today, but he has accomplished an amazing amount, starting last on the field, pitting on the backstretch, and has now moved himself to 4th place.
And you know, when we go to North Wilkesboro and talk to the crew, to Barry Dodson and Darrell Waltrip, we haven't been clocking him, but he might be the fastest car on the racetrack for all I know.
Yep. Rusty moves around Joe Rudman. Inside Brett Bodine's car.
Earnhardt's the fastest car on the racetrack, but Darrell is running very, very good.
Well, we've got exactly 50 laps to go for the Food City 500. 50 laps for Earnhardt to catch Wallace. And another Autolite field summary for you.
Earnhardt has cut it down to under 3 seconds once again. You can see we have 7 cars in the lead lap now as Mark Martin actually lost 2 laps on that pit stop.
That's strange. Not a car 1 lap down.
Yeah.
Never seen the Labonte brothers. 60 and 66 laps down. All those cars out of the race. Phil Parsons, you see, lost an engine early on.
Now Morgan Shepherd is about to go a lap down, so he would show Rusty passing him now going into turn 1. So now he's on a lap by himself. He doesn't have to worry too much about others at this point.
Can Rusty Wallace hold on to the lead, or can Dale Earnhardt catch him for a win in this NASCAR Winston Cup race? We'll be right back.
This weekend at Haynes, do bring money. Save up to 50% off retail prices store-wide. But do bring money. Because when you pay by cash or check, for the first time ever, you'll save even more, a lot more. An additional cash discount, so substantial in fact, we may never offer it again. This one and only weekend, save a fortune, while cash is king.
At Williamsburg Ford Lincoln Mercury, we figure it this way. It's not how far apart we are on the Williamsburg area map that counts. It's how close we are on the deal.
We'll give a little more, take a little less at Williamsburg Ford Lincoln Mercury.
So wherever you're coming from, Williamsburg Ford Lincoln Mercury is always the closest, because when it comes to price, we're going to meet you more than halfway. Williamsburg Ford Lincoln Mercury, your give a little dealer in Williamsburg.
For the latest sports news from ESPN all day, every day.
95 cents per minute. Call 1-900-976-ESPN.
Well, here's what's coming up on ESPN this afternoon and this evening at 4:30. The RCA College Basketball Player of the Year from New Orleans. At 5 o'clock. A college basketball roundtable from New Orleans. Then at 5:30, the Senior PGA Tour, The Tradition, presented by Mobile from Scottsdale, Arizona, the final round. Sports Center at 7:30, Checkered Flag, the Formula One race from Brazil at 8 o'clock. Major League Baseball opening day special at 8:30. The Slam Dunk and Three-Point Championship at 9:30. That ought to be fun. And then Sports Center will wrap it all up at 11:30 tonight. Look at the interval leaderboard here. 2.19 seconds separates Wallace from Earnhardt. Davey is 5.2 seconds behind. Darrell Waltrip 8.5 seconds behind. And Kyle Petty is almost 10 seconds behind the leader, Rusty Wallace.
Now, Rusty in a little bit of traffic here right now. Earnhardt has cleared himself with some heavy traffic that they both had to go through.
This is Rick Mast at Rusty's right behind. He goes by on the outside.
Rick having a good run here today, currently running in 9th position. He's about to go 2 laps down. Barry Gant right there, who has been in 2 wrecks today, but that Skull Bandit car is still going. There's Earnhardt.
Yep, 37 laps to go. The 5 car is back out there. Ricky Rudd, and Jerry has a comment.
Guys, while we're watching the battles up front, we got to acknowledge the effort, this unbelievable effort by these crews back behind the wall in the garage area to put Ricky Rudd back on the racetrack. And also Tim Brewer to put the Maxwell House car of Bobby Labonte, or what's left of the Maxwell House car of Bobby Labonte, back in the race. These guys will never say no. They're not going to give up.
Yeah, salute to some hard work down there in the pit area today by several crews.
Earnhardt has cut it down to about 1 2/10 seconds. Let's check it out again here as they come by.
Yep, 454 to 458 the laps, and look at the interval shrunk from 2.9 seconds to 1.3, and Ned, you got 1.1, so he's continued to close in on the leader, Rusty Wallace.
They both have to go through the same traffic. Rusty a little bit ahead. Now Earnhardt lost a little bit that time because of passing the Jeff Bodine car. Now Rusty going around the 98 car of Derek Cope. So, in fact, they got some heavy traffic coming up ahead of them, both of them, so it's going to affect them. Whoever gets through that traffic the best will gain the most.
And 32 laps to go. Earnhardt's got 32 laps. And pretty soon he's going to, well, he can see him already.
Yeah, don't go away. This is going to be a good finish. I can almost guarantee you that.
Earnhardt going high there, Bob. That's going to hurt him some, but Jimmy Means got down out of the way. But still, running that high groove cost him a little bit of time.
At the moment, only one car between first and second. That's Harry Gant.
Now it's back to 1 and 56 hundredths, a little over 1.5 seconds. Now Rusty coming up on some other cars. Just went around the 75 car a bit quicker.
Here comes Rusty Wallace, and there comes Earnhardt. You can see him just a half a lap between the two.
Now when you can pass past Trickle there, Benny, and passed him on the straightaway and was able to get back down in that bottom groove. Now that's the way you like to do it. It don't cost you any time when you do that, but if you have to go on the high side of them around the turn, now that does cost you.
Here comes Earnhardt. Now he has to go by Joe Ruttman, Harry Gant. Now he got a tough break. You're right, Ned. He has to pass Ruttman in the corner, and that's going to slow him down some.
Yep, he had moved it back down to about 1 2/10 seconds, but now that's going to cost him a couple of tenths once again. About 1 1/3, somewhere in that neighborhood. Seconds behind now, so again, it depends who they catch and where and how much time they lose.
If all the cars would stop right now and just let these two guys out the racetrack, I think Earnhardt would win the race.
Well, I think he would catch Rusty. Now, whether he could pass him or not, that would be an interesting situation.
I think that's what I meant. I think he could catch him.
Well, while we have the opportunity, because we are set up for an excellent finish, we're going to take a break and be back with more live coverage of the Food City 500 from Bristol, Tennessee. Stay with us.
Fire from beneath the mountains gave the land its richness, and the land gave the richness to the coffee of Colombia. That's why Maxwell House uses more Colombian beans than anyone in America, because better beans make better coffee. The coffees of Maxwell House, blended with rich Colombian beans, always good to the last drop.
America's first choice. Napa Auto Parts.
Welcome to Napa, America's most complete source for quality auto parts and accessories. And now get hot spring buys at Napa. Quality Napa motor oil, 99 cents a quart. Get 2 Silverline oil filters, just $4. Colorline spray paints, $1.99 each. And Napa's lawn and garden battery, only $19.95. Save big on hot spring buys now at Napa, America's first choice.
ESPN, top-ranked boxing. It's a must-win situation for Charles the Natural Murray to get his shot at the IBF Junior Welterweight Championship. He faces Tony pound-for-pound Martin, plus a special appearance by George Foreman and Tommy Morrison to help celebrate Top Rank Boxing's 13th anniversary. Thursday night at 9 Eastern, live on ESPN.
Back at Bristol, where we are cautioned for the 17th time on lap 479, Jeff Gordon spun and hit the wall up in turn number 2. Now watch what happens as Gordon's car comes down the banking.
There goes Harry Gant just by, and Earnhardt just turns that car dead left, just barely gets by.
Boy. Gordon drove the car to his pit on the backstretch.
Now then, Ned, the cars did not pit. We see the record for most cautions, 20, today 17. The guys didn't pit. You think that's a good strategy?
Well, yeah, when Rusty didn't pit, Earnhardt and them couldn't afford to come in and lose that track position. Now, Kyle Petty was the last car on the lead lap. He did come in and pit, and Jimmy Spencer was back there also, so he came in and pitted and took on fresh tires. Don't know how much it'll help them, but with no more laps to go than this, it didn't surprise me that they didn't come in, because they certainly have plenty of fuel left.
And I'm just impressed at how aware those guys in the pits are, like Robin Pemberton and the guy with Kyle Petty's crew. They knew they were the last car on the lead lap or next to the last. Why not come in and get fresh tires? Sure. They instantly recognized that, came in.
We'd like to congratulate Barry Dotson, who has been chosen the Western Auto Mechanic of the race. Our congratulations to him. picks up a few points toward the bonus at the end of the year for the Western Auto Mechanic of the Year.
Barry, of course, came on as crew chief of Darrell Waltrip's car after the season had started.
Darrell is running in, what, 4th? Yeah.
So it's Rusty Wallace, Dale Earnhardt, Davey Allison in 3rd, Darrell Waltrip in 4th.
And we got 19 laps to go. And the yellow remains out. They'll go at least one more lap before getting the green flag.
You got to go 2 now.
Yep. The cars have to be shown the one more to go sign before they get the green flag. So.
And you see Mark Martin on the inside of Rusty Wallace. He's a couple of laps down. He pulls on the inside trying to get one of those back.
Mark is shown in 8th position. Morgan Shepherd is 1 lap down by himself in 7th position. No other car in that lap with him.
Why are they going so slowly back there?
I don't know.
They are really.
The pace car is driven off and left the field, and he's running his normal speed.
Yeah, I mean, both Wallace and Martin are almost stopped. A little cat and mouse game, maybe?
I would guess that's what that is all about.
Anyway, now they're giving the signal one more lap to go, and so the next time around they'll get the green.
And it'll be, what, 17 laps to go.
Well, we don't have to worry about interval, do we?
No, that's for sure.
Bumper to bumper.
Yeah.
Once again, our thanks to the Family Channel Blimp for their overhead shots today. One of only 3 light ships in the world that has an eternal illumination system which allows it to glow at night. It's quite spectacular. Thanks again for our aerial coverage of the Food City 500 from the Family Channel Blimp. Okay, pace cars' lights are out. It's a sprint to the finish. They'll come down and complete 483. They'll get the green on lap 484. And let's see who comes out on top of the Food City 500. It's a slow restart. Green is out. Rusty tries desperately to get to the inside as quickly as he can, and he does put Mark Martin between himself and Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah, Mark's got to move over and let Dale go. He's not going to foul up that race.
That was a flash out. Yeah, Mark
Sure was.
Survival to finish.
Rusty pulls away from Dale momentarily.
Rusty's car is awfully fast on restarts.
15 to go.
Buck Earnhardt's closing up.
As we watch this battle to the end, here's our final Autolite field summary. How they were running last time around.
Kyle Petty moving around Darrell Waltrip with those fresh tires takes over the 4th position. That was a very good move, as a matter of fact, on Kyle Petty. Jimmy Spencer has fresh tires too. He's coming up on Darrell. Because Darrell was sitting there in 4th position when the other leaders didn't pit.
Ooh, and Mark Martin almost hit Dale Earnhardt, and meanwhile Davey Allison had to back off to keep from hitting Mark Martin, and Kyle Petty gets alongside of him.
Kyle takes over 3rd.
Boy, Kyle with those new tires is going to the front. He may be a factor in this race, huh?
Well, he could be, but I don't think he'll be a factor to catch Rusty, but he certainly has gained several positions by taking on those tires.
Here's a replay of contact between Earnhardt and Martin, and then with Allison.
Yes, and here comes Kyle Petty on the inside, takes that 3rd spot away.
Less than 10 laps to go. In fact, we have 9 to go. No, 10 laps to go. 490 complete. Rusty is maintaining his advantage.
As a matter of fact, he's pulling away from Earnhardt.
I think he is, yeah.
Kyle Petty is catching Dale Earnhardt.
Yes, he is. I don't think he's got time to catch Rusty, though.
No, I don't think so either, but I believe Kyle will catch Earnhardt. So that was a very, very good move by Robin Pemberton and the folks on the 42 car to make that pit stop. Came out in 6th. Well, actually, came out in 5th position.
There comes Spencer on the inside of Davey Allison, trying to get alongside Davey.
Spencer has fresh tires also.
Mark Martin's watching this race. the inside. Can't make the pass, though.
Nope, he's trying, but can't do it.
Kyle was moved within about 2 car lengths. That Spencer might have him this time.
I believe he does.
Yep,
Spencer got it.
Puts him in 4th place.
So a very good run for Jimmy Spencer. Spun early, got a lap down, made the lap up. Now back up to 4th place.
5 laps to go for Rusty Wallace. Looking for his 23rd Winston Cup win. There was some debris there on the racetrack, but I don't think it's going to cause a caution. It's a bungee cord. Isn't metal, so it wouldn't create a serious problem.
They have some metal hooks on the end, so you certainly wouldn't want to run over the thing. Here comes Rusty.
3 more laps.
And Kyle Petty going to gain substantially on Earnhardt. Comes alongside.
Battle for second.
Now Earnhardt goes up the hill. Kyle will try to get underneath. Didn't move up enough.
A very smart move of Kyle Petty coming in and getting those fresh tires. He had nothing to lose again because he was the last car on the lead lap, but he sure had a lot to gain.
And just 2 laps to go. 2 laps. They're not going to catch Rusty Wallace, but Kyle Petty has a shot at second.
White flag comes out this time for Rusty Wallace. Not only is he going to win this race, he's going to pick up $60,800 in Unocal bonus money. This will be the 3rd time he's won that Unocal bonus. Second place will continue to watch for you as Earnhardt remains ahead of Kyle Petty. Here is Rusty Wallace in the 3rd turn, now the 4th turn, and the Food City 500 win is his. Rusty Wallace, Earnhardt second, followed by Kyle Petty. Here is 4th position going to Davey Allison and Spencer, then Davey Allison, and then Darrell Walter.
Man. 6 cars on the lead lap.
Rusty Wallace. And here's John Kernan with Buddy Parrott.
Buddy, you just said something to Rusty over the radio, and I noticed you ran over here and hid behind the tire racks. What was that all about?
Well, I tell you what, I've had a lot of that Gatorade dumped on me before, but I don't know. It was a great day. I tell you what, it was all still. Everybody was a little down, but we sat on a pole and we won the race, and we were in Alan Kwiecki's pit today, and he did it here last year in the same spot. So wherever you are, Alan, this is for you, baby.
And not unexpectedly, Rusty Wallace takes the Polish victory lap, as Alan Kwiecki called it. All the way around this half-mile racetrack, the crowd is on its feet. Maybe even those who cheer against Rusty Wallace are up saluting this victory lap because they know in reality it is for the fallen champion of this division, Alan Kwiecki, who was killed in a plane crash near Bristol on Thursday evening. And now Rusty can go to victory lane and receive the congratulations and the accolades that he deserves. He drove a fine race here. Last year's champion, the winner of this race, was Alan Kwiecki. We'll be back with this year's champion, Rusty Wallace, in just a moment at Bristol, Tennessee.
Off the road, on the road. The Suzuki Dual Sport 350S. It's a vicious cycle.
Oil. It's the lifeblood of your engine. That makes your oil filter your engine's most vital organ. That's why Fram keeps going the extra mile to make the best protection even better. The Fram Extra Guard oil filter. Unique glass fiber paper stops more dirt than any other filter for the best protection ever. Fram Extra Guard. American or import, it's an extra lease on life.
Performax from Pennzoil. New synthetic motor oil with Pennzoil's exclusive star molecule. Protects engine parts at ignition. Works like liquid ball bearings. Hangs tough during the most extreme driving conditions. Flows in severe cold. Performax from Pennzoil. Keeps it cool in extreme heat. Performax from Pennzoil. Fights against failure at friction max out. Performax. Protects to the max.
How far will your money go when buying a Dual Sport 350S? Introducing Suzuki Get On It Flexible Financing. Want to see it again? Other programs include 0 down, low monthly payments, and first-time buyer. Get on it.
From high overhead, Bristol Raceway in East Tennessee, the Food City 500 has come to a conclusion. Rusty Wallace has beaten Dale Earnhardt, Kyle Petty, Jimmy Spencer, and Davey Allison. Our Speed World coverage has been brought to you by Suzuki. Your Suzuki dealer has the ride you've been waiting for and the financing to get it. And by Napa, because there are no unimportant parts. Here's Dr. Jerry Punch in Victory Lane.
A big smile from Rusty Wallace. Rusty, congratulations on a dominating win and quite a tribute.
Yeah, I tell you, it's just, it's almost tearful, man. I tell you, because I wanted to win this race so bad. I was so mad when Alan got hurt, or got killed there, that I told the preachers before, I said, I'm going to try to win this thing for him. And, boy, I was pretty intense today, and I did that. And, boy, when I took that thing, I looped that baby around, and I did the Alan Kwiecki victory lap, and I was so proud for him. It's just to Paul Andrews and his whole crew and his all his friends and stuff. This isn't for the Miller Daniel draft team. It's for you guys, because, we miss you bad.
Some of the Kwiecki crew were the first to greet you in Victory Lane, and Don Hawk and some of them came up and patted you on the back. They had tears in their eyes. Rusty, a tremendous run today for your team.
Yeah, it was. I'm real happy with the team, but I'm sure not going to let this good run overshadow my buddy,
Rusty Wallace in Victory Lane for the 4th time at Bristol International Raceway. All 4 coming in the spring Food City 500. Bob?
All right, his 4th win here at Bristol, Tennessee, Rusty Wallace. Here are the unofficial final results. There you see how Jimmy Spencer had a great day, and Darrell Waltrip finished in 6th position, starting last on the field. Brett Bodine, who started outside the front row, finishes in 9th position.
See, Kenny Wallace, he's the leading rookie contender this afternoon, finishes 13th.
Jeff Gordon finishes in 17th position.
And there are a lot of drivers we see back through the field who run good, like Ernie Irvin. Had a good run going, Terry Labonte, but they wound up in crashes and far back in the field.
And another disappointing finish for Bill Elliott back in 30th spot.
And 31st through 35th, Parsons, Jarrett, Hillen, Schrader, and Bobby Hamilton. So that's the story of the Food City 500 here at Bristol International Raceway. Big crowd turned out for this. They're now headed for the exits. We get set 2 weeks from today to bring you live coverage of the First Union 400 from North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. That will be Sunday, April the 18th at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, 10 on the East Coast, West Coast, I should say. And our thanks to the Family Channel Blimp for their aerial coverage of today's race. And our congratulations to Rusty Wallace, who has won the Food City 500. For Ned Jarrett.
That we face each day. Award-winning Phil Donahue and international journalist Vladimir Posner explore the issues and topics that affect you. It's the first talk show that listens to you.
Hello, Newport News. Watch Posner Donahue on Newport News Cable Dish, Channel 28.
Posner Donahue, a place to call in and be heard. Weeknights only on CNBC.
These kids have got energy. These kids have got attitude.
It ain't time to go. You trying to leave us?
These kids have got 12 hours to drive 2 adults out of their minds. Bebe's kids.
We don't die. We multiply.
Pee-wee, put it down. Pee-wee. It's animation with an attitude.
Is back. After 2 races, Ayrton Senna leads the World Championship battle with Alain Prost right behind him. And Michael Andretti gets yet another chance at the Grand Prix of Europe. Today on ESPN.
SportsCenter is brought to you by Midas, where you can get same-day brake service because your brakes can't wait.
The
Phoenix Cardinals may have moved one step closer to signing Joe Montana. According to Game Day's Chris Mortensen, Montana liked Phoenix, but he was a bit concerned about the Cards' offensive line. On Saturday, Phoenix signed Chargers tackle Harry Swain to an offer sheet. The Chargers can still match it, but if they do, Swain becomes the highest paid player in San Diego. Now, heading into Sunday's final round at the Masters, Bernard Langer, a comfortable 4-shot leader, does he, Chris?
Well, according to recent history, no. Did you know that since his Masters win in '85, Langer hasn't broken par during the final round at Augusta? In fact, his average final round score has been 74.
Always a first time. That'll do it for us. I'm Linda Cohn.
And I'm Chris Myers. Thanks for watching. Have a happy Easter Sunday, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
38-year-old Frenchman Alain Prost is a 3-time world driving champion. He drives a Williams Renault that can go from 0 to 125 and stop in 7 seconds. 33-year-old Brazilian Ayrton Senna is also a 3-time champion. His car is a McLaren Ford, so aerodynamically slick it can drive across the ceiling. At Kyalami, South Africa in March, the first race of the 1993 Formula One season was marked by driving mistakes and mechanical problems that sidelined 21 of the 26 cars in the field. In the end, Prost passed Senna to claim his first Grand Prix victory in 3 years and lay down the challenge before his rival. 2 weeks later in Sao Paulo, Brazil, round 2 of the championship began poorly for American Michael Andretti, who clipped another car and crashed heavily. The Williams team once again appeared to be more than a match for McLaren, but this time nature intervened. The skies opened, and Prost slithered helplessly into retirement. When the skies cleared, Senna swept by Prost's teammate Damon Hill and won his home Grand Prix, igniting a celebration to rival Sao Paulo's legendary Carnival. The 1993 Formula One season has already become a dramatic struggle between a pair of proven champions, Senna and Prost. Today, the World Driving Championship returns to Donington Park in England for the first time in 55 years. Welcome to the Grand Prix of Europe. ESPN, the world leader in motorsports coverage, presents Speed World. The picture says it all. For the 3rd straight race in the 1993 Formula One World Championship, nature is bound to be a factor in the final outcome of the race. Welcome to Donington Park, England, and the Grand Prix of Europe. 3 races, 3 continents, from Africa to Brazil, and now to the European continent. To a track just outside the industrial city of Birmingham, England, to Donington Park, England's 2nd oldest road racing circuit. Hello again, everyone. I'm Bob Varsha, and what you see is what we get. It is cold, about 30 degrees and blowing here at Donington Park. But the show will go on. When Grand Prix cars last race here, the winner was the Flying Mantuan, Tazio Nuvolari of Italy, back in 1938. 55 years later, it is called the Formula One World Championship, and its stars are Frenchman Alain Prost and Brazilian Ayrton Senna. 2 men from very different backgrounds, but they are locked together in Formula One history. 1st and 2nd in career victories, 1st and 2nd in career points, each with 3 World Driving Championships, and hoping to become the first man since Juan Manuel Fangio to win a 4th. Now, in the 55 years since Grand Prix cars last race here at Donington, there's been plenty of racing, but no Formula One World Championship. Getting the race back here has been a 2-decade dream for British entrepreneur Tom Wheatcroft. Now he has his race, and with me for more on this great racetrack, ESPN Formula One analyst Derek Daly. Derek, there has been some great races here.
There really has. Donington Park is absolutely steeped in history. Just inside the front gate, there's a museum that houses the largest collection of Formula One cars in the world. One of the historically significant cars there is, in fact, the Auto Union that Nuvolari used to win in '38. That car had 600 horsepower. Can you imagine how scary that must have been to drive or even to watch on tyres no more than 6 or 7 inches wide? Now, Donington Park is the only privately owned circuit that holds a round of the World Championship Grand Prix. Tom Wheatcroft bought the track in 1973. Then he had a dream to bring the World Championship back to Donington. 20 years it has taken to realize that dream. Now, it might be a miserable day, but history will be continued here, and Michael Andretti is at the moment a small part of that history because he's on the grid. Earlier, we got to talk to him about his first 2 races in Formula One. Even though the first 2 races were not good for Michael Andretti, he is still confident and in a very positive frame of mind.
I guess if you look at it on paper, you just look at the races, yeah, I'd say it's a total disaster. But, you know, I have to look at what I've been up against in terms of actual time in the race car and look at the progress in terms of that. And I feel that, you know, up until qualifying at Brazil, I felt like I was getting there. I'm getting closer. And obviously we had the problem with the race, but unfortunately that's racing. You know, you'll have accidents, you'll have failures like at Kyalami with the clutch, and you know, it's just, I've been there before, and it's just things that are beyond your control.
Biggest problem for Michael now, simply a lack of critical seat time.
That's been the real downside, really. I think if I would have at least one good race under my belt, I'd be a lot further along, just because race miles are very important to a driver, and you learn so much in one race. And so I wish I had that.
Unfortunately for Michael, he's had to learn about this car in official practice and qualifying. Yesterday he had this spin, but he did manage to keep the car on the racetrack with the engine running. He then dug deep enough to pull out a lap good enough for 6th place on the grid. The learning curve for Michael continues. His thoughts now?
I don't know. I just hopefully can get off that line and get through that first turn. You know, it's been a bit of a problem the last 2 races, so I think if we can do that, we'll be fine.
Well, whatever happens, you have to give Michael Andretti an A for attitude. He's really keeping his chin up. And now, as we are just moments from the start, he's standing by with our pit reporter, James Allen.
Thank you, Bob. Yes, I'm down here with Mike Andretti. He's just about to start his 3rd Grand Prix. Mike, you haven't had much running this weekend.
Well, we've had some running. Most of it's been wet running, though, unfortunately. But I guess now that's going to help us because it looks like it's going to be a wet race.
Has Donington been a difficult circuit to learn for you?
It hasn't been too bad. I like the circuit. It's a good driving circuit.
What's your strategy for the start this time?
Get through the first turn, you know. Just going to try to play cool and get through there and bring it home, like I've been saying the last 2 races anyway, so.
We'll have our fingers crossed for Michael Andretti as he attempts his 3rd Grand Prix start, and we'll be back in just a moment to bring you the starting grid and turn them loose at Donington Park. Stay with us. ESPN Speed World coverage of the Formula One Grand Prix of Europe is brought to you by Volvo. Volvo would like you to drive safely. By Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car. And by Budweiser, the king of beers, who reminds you friends know when to say when.
At Yamaha, we've always left the competition in the dust. And now it's time they took a bath. Introducing the Yamaha Pro VXR, the world's leading personal watercraft. When it comes to acceleration, we're flat out better.
Welcome back live to Donington Park, where their weather continues to deteriorate. We have problems on the starting grid to report. We'll get to that in just a moment. Right now, let's see how they'll line up with the help of our Yamaha starting grid. On the pole for the 3rd straight race, Alain Prost of France and the Williams Renault. The first time ever a pole hat trick for Prost with a lap at 127 plus miles per hour average. Next to him on the front row, his Williams teammate Damon Hill for the 2nd straight race, right up there with Prost. Row 2 will be Michael Schumacher of Germany in the brand new Benetton Ford, highest ranking Cosworth Ford V8 in the field. Next to Schumacher, Ayrton Senna of Brazil in the McLaren Ford. On row 3 will be Carl Wendlinger in the Sauber, the best qualifying performance for the Sauber team thus far. Next to Wendlinger, Michael Andretti of the United States in the 2nd McLaren Ford, 4th in the morning warm-up. On row 4 will be J.J. Leto. Problems getting that Sauber fired, we understand. We'll get back to that. Next to him will be Gerhard Berger of Austria in the Ferrari. On row 5, Jean Alesi of France, fighting a case of the flu this weekend for Ferrari. Next to him, Riccardo Patrese in the 2nd Benetton Ford. On row 6, Johnny Herbert, one of 5 British drivers in this field. The crowd will love that. He's in the Lotus. Next to him will be 20-year-old Ruben Barrichello Barrichello of Brazil, his best qualifying performance for the Jordan Hart team. Row 7 will be Alessandro Zanardi of Italy in the second Lotus. Next to him, Derek Warwick, the reigning World Sports Car champion in the footwork Mugen Honda, another brand new machine. Row 8 will be Philippe Ayot of France, fifth in the morning warm-up for LaRousse Lamborghini. Next to him, Christian Fittipaldi of Brazil, who won in a Formula 3 race here at Donington back in 1991. Row 9 will be Eric Comas of France in the second LaRousse Lamborghini. He crashed heavily in the morning warm-up. Next to him, Ukyo Katayama of Japan in the Tyrrell. On row 10, Terry Boutsen of Belgium returns to Formula 1, replacing Ivan Capelli with the Jordan team. Next to him, Fabrizio Barbazza in the Minardi Ford. Row 11, Mark Blundell and Martin Brundle, both of Great Britain, both in Ligier, both in deep trouble this weekend. Row 12, Aguri Suzuki of Japan in the second footwork. Next to him, Michele Alboreto of Italy in the BMS Lola Ferrari. On the 13th row by himself, Andre de Cesaris in the Tyrrell Yamaha. Because there are only 26 cars in the field, only 25 will start. The man who did not qualify, Luca Badoer, the defending Formula 3000 champion with the Lola team. A look at the morning warm-up shows Damon Hill, J.J. Leto, Ayrton Senna, Michael Andretti fourth, followed by Ayo and Schumacher. Among the other stars, Jean Alesi 8th, Alain Prost 11th, Gerhard Berger 18th, and Riccardo Patrese 23rd. Weather conditions are rainy, cold, miserable, but the race will go on. Derek Daly, how about a closer look at the track?
Well, this so-called new Donington racetrack is very similar, in fact, to the one used by Nuvolari, etc., 55 years ago. Now, the first corner that we just saw the cars go through is called Redgate. It will cause a bit of a funnel effect because of a very late apex, so watch that at the start. Down through the Craner curves, it's virtually impossible to pass. The Melbourne Loop, well, it was added several years ago to bring this track up to Grand Prix standards. The only slight criticism from drivers, it's a little bit too narrow.
Now let's get down to the pit lane. We told you there are problems to report. James Allen, what have you got?
Michael Andretti had a water leak in the warm-up, and they changed the radiator on the grid on his McLaren Ford, and that revving you just heard behind me, that was J.J. Leto. He has an ignition problem on the Sauber. He had to have the car pushed off the grid, and he's going to start from the pit lane in a spare car. Most drivers starting on wets, but all the teams have the slicks standing by. The rain has stopped. It's going to be a very much of a lottery to start this race.
No question about that, James, and the cars will go down to a very sharp first corner. There you see them coming through the Melbourne hairpin. As Derek mentioned, an extension to this track added to bring it up to current Formula 1 standards in terms of length. So many great races. Over the weekend, we've been watching a lot of vintage film of people like Nuvolari and Bert Rosemeyer, who won this race back in 1937, leaping among the trees in these 600 horsepower Mercedes and Auto Unions. Great stuff.
Great stuff, but today we have a very interesting situation, particularly between teammates. Let's take Williams. Prost hates the rain, wants it to dry. Damon Hill wants as much rain as he can get. He thinks he can beat Prost. The McLaren boys, Michael wants it in the dry because it's such a lottery in the wet. Senna is praying for the rain because he thinks he can beat Prost and everybody else, but only if it rains.
Michael Andretti will start right next to Carl Wendlinger, the man who's juking back and forth on the starting grid at Brazil, caused Michael to jump sideways right into Gerhard Berger. Put the blame where you like. We'll have onboard cameras today. That's Alain Prost, our pole sitter. That is Michael Schumacher's Benetton. The green flag waves, the red light will come, and then the green. A delicate business finding traction on a very wet racetrack on a cold day in Donington. Alain Prost first to the first corner. Looks like Schumacher coming up underneath Damon Hill. Everyone treading very carefully. Now that's Michael Andretti in the red and white McLaren to the inside. Ayrton Senna just ahead of him.
Look at Senna. Look at Senna. Tries the outside and makes it past Wendlinger.
Prost, Hill, Senna. Senna's going to make a run on Hill. Michael Andretti has Michael Schumacher right next to him. Meanwhile, here comes Senna up the inside at the top of the hill.
Michael and Schumacher were side by side. Schumacher trying to take the position from Michael. Michael held on, and now he runs in 5th place. But did you see the moves? Oh, Michael's off the road.
He is off. He's in the center. Oh, no. He is in the trap, and it appears he is high-centered in the gravel.
That is Coppa's Corner. When you get into the gravel, you do not get out. How much worse can this be?
Carl Vendlinger. Could they have come together again after it happened 2 weeks ago? Now
Senna's leading.
Senna underneath Prost. Everyone being extra careful. There's one of the Jordans. There are both Ferraris, the Benetton.
Well, this is what Senna wanted. He is so good in the wet that he knows he needs to lead the first lap if he's to have a realistic chance, particularly if it dries. He was brilliant in Brazil in the wet, and on the opening lap here, just look what he's accomplished.
The Rainmeister, Ayrton Senna, whose first Formula One victory might have come in the rain at Monaco, a race won by Alain Prost. You see Senna getting loose in the wet, and then he finally did win in Portugal.
The biggest advantage, he told me this morning, that Williams has, he believes, is horsepower. The wetter the racetrack is, the least amount of that horsepower they can use to their advantage. That's why he wants the rain. Now, it will dry out here at Donington very quickly because it's not raining right now. Unless more rain comes, we do expect it to dry.
Look at the gap. Senna already opening up over the Williams team. The Williams drivers say if it's wet, what you need is more downforce on the car. And the problem the Williams team has is you take another look. Those are the leaders going through the corner. And there's Michael Andretti and Carl Vendlinger coming into the gravel together.
Well, well, this is a shame for Michael. We don't get good shots over there, but Michael was ahead of him.
Oh, my. We don't mean to be apologists for Michael Andretti, but if he could just get some laps in the car. His luck has been so bad in Formula One thus far. There's Damon Hill. Riding on board with Hill behind his teammate. And the rest of the field just tippy-toeing around, so unlike a dry weather Formula One race.
If you think about Brazil, it was Vendlinger and Michael that they didn't actually touch, but Vendlinger definitely moved over and caused Michael to move over onto the Ferrari. And now the two of them do actually touch, get together. And unfortunately, in lap one and the third round of the World Championship, both cars that had potential to run in the points here are out. What a shame.
Here is our leaderboard. Senna, Prost, Hill, then Ruben Barrichello, youngest man in the field in only his third Grand Prix start, in fourth position. Jean Alesi fifth, followed by Michael Schumacher, Gerhard Berger, Johnny Herbert, Riccardo Patrese, and Alessandro Zanardi round out the top 10. Then it's Derek Warwick, Fabrizio Barbaza, Philippe Ayot, Christian Fittipaldi, Ukio Katayama, Martin Brundle, Andre De Cesaris, Mark Blundell, Terry Boutsen, and Aguri Suzuki.
Now you can hear this McLaren misfiring as he exits a lot of these corners. That is not an engine misfire, that is the traction control working. Senna simply comes out of the corner, puts his foot flat to the floor, and as the wheels spin when they fight for grip, the traction control unit comes in, causes a loss of power on the engine, which is a misfire that you hear, and Senna simply keeps his foot in it, and the traction control takes care of the wheel spin.
I understand there are a couple of different ways the traction control works. One affects the ignition. They'll drop a cylinder, basically, to allow the wheel a little less power, allow it to begin to catch. Some of them use electronic braking on all four wheels.
There's Prost, there's Hill behind him, but Barrichello is right behind Damon Hill. Four cars in the line behind. In fact, the race is all behind here because Senna has pulled out such a lead.
Keep in mind, some of the younger drivers driving in the minor Formula, F3 and F3000, have raced here more often than any of the established Formula One stars. Very little testing goes on because it is such a popular racetrack with local clubs here in the Midlands of England. And so some of the young lions may have an advantage when it comes to getting used to racing at Donington. There is your lead. Ayrton Senna, 4.5 minutes into the race. And then the gaps to those following him. Aguri Suzuki is off the racetrack on the pit straightaway. Looks like he's gotten back underway in pretty good shape. The sky beginning to lighten. We may get a dry track. Of course, that will put a whole new complexion on this race when we return to Donington Park. Senna, Prost, Hill, Barrichello, Alesi, and Schumacher in the top 6 points-paying positions. Stay with us.
I was right behind him when he started to spin. I know the feeling, know where to go, right?
Two champions sharing a winning formula. Haviland Formula 3.
Very unpleasant on an oval, I'd think.
Some people just can't get it right.
Even at Indy?
Oh, especially at Indy.
Complete professionals who rely on the same complete protection you can buy right off the shelf. Haviland Formula 3 motor oil from Texaco.
Perhaps I should follow you then.
Not a bad idea, Nigel.
We thought we'd been everywhere, seen everything. We were wrong.
We're back to the bone. We're back to the bone.
These guys were weird, and we liked it. Later, they took us to the Tower of Blood. Brother, tomorrow we ride again.
Deborah Lacayo doesn't have time to watch A&E. She spent 10 years carving tiny people on the tips of toothpicks. She paints with a dog whisker. Hey, if you've got the time, A&E's got new episodes of Time Machine, Lovejoy Mysteries, The Real West Series, and American Justice. Starting Monday, A&E, it's time well spent.
Back on a cold, dreary Easter Sunday here at Donington Park in England. Happy Easter, everyone. Bob Varsha and Derek Daly. James Allen is in the pits. Glad to have you with us, and certainly glad to be out of the weather we're experiencing here. There's the second place car, number 2, the Williams Renault of former world champion Alain Prost of France. He's running second at this juncture of the race. We're on board now with Prost. Obviously, with the weather conditions that we have, the helicopters that are used to bounce these onboard camera signals off of them back to the ground are, well, having a difficult time. There is Ayrton Senna, the race leader, who passed Prost on the first lap and has simply motored away from the field.
During Friday's practice and qualifying, it was very, very wet here, and Senna was over 1 second faster than the whole field on a consistent basis. Just look at the lead he has here now, extending it with every lap. Prost, remember, hates the rain. He's chasing a world championship. He is not willing to risk everything to chase Senna. He's happy to be second here, hoping it will dry out because he knows he has a faster car then.
Let's put this in perspective. The car you're watching was 2 seconds faster than Senna's in dry weather qualifying. 2 full seconds around a track that they lap in about 70 or 71 seconds. Yet Senna, in wet weather, is driving away. Now, we mentioned that the Williams team says they need extra downforce when it gets wet. They say they cannot put another element on that rear wing. They cannot add downforce at the rear of the car for some reason, while the McLaren team has a triple plane rear wing that they've been using. On board now with Senna. You're watching the best under these conditions.
This is the master. We talk about changing conditions. You can see that the racing line is beginning to dry out. Now here's something else we'll throw in. Schumacher is not in the picture right now. The Benetton team have gone out on a limb and they are running dry downforce settings. Therefore the car, if the line does dry out, their cars will be faster. They know in the wet they cannot beat Senna, and to beat Senna their only chance is to take a gamble that it will dry out.
Ayrton Senna began the season listed as a reserve driver. There you see the gap from first to second place. They weren't sure if Senna would come and race. He has raced under 1 race contracts, 1 race only, and the opener at South Africa, then in Brazil 2 weeks ago, and now here at Donington Park. Senna is operating on a race-by-race basis with this team.
And the next time he goes to negotiate the contract, he will bring a tape of that opening lap because he was at his brilliant best, slicing down the inside when people are unawares. And we have one of the Ligier cars, it looks like Martin Brundle is in the pits, and he's on slicks. So that is how fast it is going to dry up. Everybody will be in the pit lane within a couple laps.
In fact, Brundle is the second car to come in. Ukio Katayama with the Tyrrell team has already been in. Ooh, coming out. That's Eric Comas and the LaRousse right there. There's Katayama out on slicks. Senna will just eat him up right now, I would imagine, on the wet part of the track.
Well, when you come up on a back marker like that, you hope that he sees you. But Senna it'll be interesting to see how long he'll stay out now on dry weather tires. They will have to monitor how fast the cars on slicks are going and then make the decision for Senna.
Another point we were talking about early in the day, Derek, is what happens with these extensively computer-controlled semi-automatic transmissions when the track gets slick.
On the semi-automatic, like the McLaren here, it changes up automatically. However, you can also manually change it. So, in fact, to short shift, as people like to do in the rain, look at Senna, goes offline on the wet. No problem to him, just slices past cars at will. But you can manually change gears on these, and in the wet, you have to short shift sometimes to stop those wheels breaking away, even though they do have traction control.
Ayrton Senna over the top of the rise. A lot of elevation change in this racetrack.
As long as he is pulling away from Prost, and he will know that every time he goes by his own pit, as long as he is extending his lead, he will stay out. As soon as he realizes he's no longer pulling away from Prost, he will be straight to the pits for slicks.
After 7 laps, there you see the running order and the gap back to the second place car. It's stabilized somewhat. In fact, Prost has closed down by about 0.5 of a second, I would think, on that next lap. Let's find out what's going on in the pit lane right now with James Allen.
Well, Bob, there's frantic action down here in the McLaren pit. They're all shouting at each other. They've got a new set of tyres out, all slicks. They're in the warmers. The computer is all programmed in, and there's a lot of frantic movement. They're expecting Senna in any time, it looks like. The sun is beginning to come out. The day is beginning to get a little bit better, although there is still a little bit of moisture in the air. But Senna's due to come in, it looks like, very soon.
This is the first race on the brand new Goodyear wet weather tires for Formula One this year. Note that they have narrowed the front and rear tires. The slicks were changed right away, but in the first 2 races of the year, the cars were going around on interim front wet tires, and boy, did they ever need them in Brazil. Now they have the totally new asymmetrical design, one tire unique to each corner of the car, made by Goodyear. They have functioned superbly thus far today.
On board with Prost. This is down through the Craner curve. Just went through the old hairpin. It's an uphill rise here. This is McLean's. It's a late apex here. And now it's uphill again. Elevation changes here. This is a difficult corner. Brundle never made it around for more than 2 or 3 laps on those slicks. And he's off the road. We saw him off the road twice during practice.
Boy, there's where he's off the road. It's right at the end of that very quick straightaway.
Well, he must have just lost it under braking, Bob. He must have just got it sideways under braking, and unfortunately, he stalled the engine. No onboard starters. What do you give now for an onboard starter?
What a shame. Martin Brundle has yet to finish a race in 1993. Here comes the field. On your right is a large exhibition center that is a part of this, and just across from that exhibition center is the Donington Racing Car Museum, and it is absolutely spectacular. There is Ruben Barrichello under pressure from Jean Alesi and Michael Schumacher.
Barrichello, just a spectacular performance here for a Jordan Grand Prix. They have changed the engine. This is the Brian Hart designed and developed V10 engine, obviously following on the example set by Renault of how good the V10 is. I don't think Brian Hart really has anything other than a conservative engine in this at the moment, because he is a conservative engineer in general. So I would say there's even more horsepower to come from this engine, which will make this Jordan car and this Jordan team even more competitive. And of course, their new teammate this weekend, instead of Capelli, is Thierry Boutsen.
There is Jean Alesi. Likes to do his racing with the seat belts fairly loose. Likes to brace himself with his left leg. As we mentioned, he is fighting a case of the flu this weekend. You see those contrails ripping off the back wing as the air and the moisture in it is crushed out, as the air is crammed over the upper plane of that rear wing. Leto, Barrichello, Alesi, and this man, Michael Schumacher.
Obviously, you see Leto did get running after that initial problem, having a start from the pit lane. Not as competitive as he wants. He's about to be lapped. And Brundle's car is still there. See, the toe strap is on it, but they need to get that car out of there as soon as possible, because somebody else could lose it under braking, and then it's a helpless situation. All you end up is crash damage. There's Leto now being passed by Berger.
Alesi.
By Alesi.
The 27 Ferrari.
I should know that.
Easy to do, my friend. You'll learn. Michael Schumacher, I'm surprised he's not a little more competitive, but as Derek mentioned, this is a brand new car. They've not had an awful lot of testing on it.
I tell you how vital traction control is. We know how good Schumacher is. This is the new car. In the dry conditions, it's faster than Senna and the McLaren because he was ahead of him on the grid. They have no traction control on that car. That will tell you how much he misses it, because he is not as competitive as we know Michael Schumacher can be and as we normally see him. But I mentioned earlier, he wants it to dry up. He believes he will be the class of the field next to the Williams, I have to say that, if it dries up.
There's Johnny Herbert coming in for slicks. Heating up the rears the easiest way possible. Out he comes. It is Senna, Prost, Hild, Barrichello, Alesi, and Schumacher. They'll be dancing in the streets of Brazil to see that leaderboard. 2 Brazilians up there. Ayrton Senna down in the Melbourne hairpin.
Nobody looks after tires as well as Ayrton Senna. Again, he passes the pit entrance. He's happy that he's still leading Prost by enough, still pulling away, so he's happy to stay out on those wets.
It is always the leader who dictates the tune when it comes to changing back and forth on tires, and right now the leader is Ayrton Senna by 5.8 seconds over Alain Prost. We'll be back for more.
If this is how you think of Volvos, we may have the car to change your thinking. The Volvo 850 GLT. Driving a Volvo usually inspires a certain sense of safety. Well, now we offer an additional sensation. The Volvo 850 GLT.
To soar with eagles, be the best. To win the industry's highest awards for quality, commit to excellence. Provide superior quality products and have the strength to offer them at more than 12,500 locations nationwide. More than any other major brand. Discover for yourself the difference quality can make. Fly with the new superpower.
ESPN, top-ranked boxing. IBF super middleweight champion James Lights Out Toney. Considered one of the best fighters in America, he puts his undefeated record to the test yet again as he faces Ricky Thomas. Top-ranked boxing. Saturday night at 9 Eastern live on ESPN.
From Donington Park is the town of Nottingham. And Sherwood Forest, home of one of the most famous characters in all of literature, Robin of Nottingham, Robin Hood. There's King Richard the Lionheart marrying Robin and Maid Marian. Of course, just about everyone has had a shot at Robin Hood over the years. Walt Disney to Errol Flynn to Kevin Costner. It's very much a living part of the scenery here in the Midlands of England. You're watching live the Grand Prix of Europe here on ESPN. There goes Damon Hill, still on those wet weather groove tires, I should say. Looking for a little bit of wetness. Those tires do not last long once the line begins to dry out. Alain Prost first, then Damon Hill, who looked down the inside. You're on board with Hill.
Damon Hill is the #2 driver in this team. He got off to a bad start just like Michael Andretti did, but had a tremendous second place in Brazil. I don't think he would take an unusual risk or a chance. Oh, you see him get sideways there to correct the car under power. I don't think he will take any unnecessary risks to try and pass Prost, because if they collided, old Frank Boy would not be happy.
One of the favorite topics of pit lane speculation in Formula One is how much horsepower your engine makes. I saw an interview recently with Patrick Head, who's the technical director for the Williams-Renault team, who talked about the difficulties of putting 800 horsepower through the technology of their semi-automatic computer-controlled transmission. So perhaps we've been understating it at 700.
Well, oh, here he goes. Oh, look at this. Hill has a look down the inside at Prost. Well, and that was the old hairpin, which is a very difficult place to pass. Now, Prost is in a traffic situation right ahead of him, which is a lapped car. But here's something we have to watch. Senna will be in the pits very soon. He lost 1.5 seconds of his lead to Prost in the last 2 laps. So Senna, for sure, will be on the way to the pit lane very shortly.
Damon Hill, son of the late 2-time world champion and Indy 500 winner Graham Hill, also a Le Mans winner, one of the great names in all of motorsports, looks down the inside again around Prost. I guess he feels he has the legs on Prost and wants to get around.
And it's a risky move, because remember, that's the dry line. They are on there. Hill has to sneak off that and get on the damp, wet, dirty stuff. Look how close he is here. Oh, I think Prost blocked him there. Looks like he blocked him.
Prost and Hill have been all sweetness and light throughout the weekend, working together, talking about how much they enjoy being each other's teammates. I wonder how long that'll last if it comes to who's going to get around who under green flag conditions in a Grand Prix.
It's amazing how the friendship stops when the competition gets hotter. And I'll tell you what, the friendship will definitely stop if there's any contact between these two cars, because Alain Prost for sure is taking it easy now, or he'll tell you he's taking it easy anyway.
76 laps of racing underway. We've completed 13. J.J. Leto, who started from the pit lane, is now up to 20th in that Sauber. Of the 25 starters, 16 remain on the lead lap. Now here's one of the Ferraris in the pits. We'll see whether slicks go on. I'm almost certain they will be. Yes, they do.
If you're not fast enough, it's worth taking a gamble to put slicks on as early as possible, because then you actually catch the racetrack as it is drying out to its best. But this is a reasonably sedate pit stop, I would have thought, from Formula One standards for Berger. Almost looked as if he had a problem there for a minute, but he doesn't. He's out on slicks, and now he makes his charge. Before he went in there, he was running in 7th, so he wasn't in a points-paying position.
There is the leader, Ayrton Senna, and you can see the treads in the tire. I said they were asymmetrical, which means there's a different tread pattern on all 4 tires. You can't just take 2 fronts and put one on either side. You've got to have a left front, a left rear, and a right rear. And each of those tires requires its own separate mold, obviously, which explains why it took Goodyear a little extra time to get the new wet weather tires here.
There's Prost. You see him in the top of your picture. Now, Senna actually stretched it out a little bit. It went to 4 seconds, and it's now, as they flash over the line, just above 6 seconds. So Senna still has the measure of Prost.
Michael Andretti is back in the pit lane, and he's with James Allen.
Michael Andretti, another contretemps with Carl Vendinger. What happened?
Well, I had a good start, and I moved up a position, and I was a little bit quicker than Carl at that point, and I made a move to go on the inside, and then I decided no, not to do it, because I didn't think he saw me. But then I locked my front tire, and then I went into him. But, you know, I guess he didn't see me, and then I was just racing, you know.
What are the conditions out there, like Jay said?
They were good. Yeah, fine.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Well, Michael's father, Mario, the recent Phoenix IndyCar winner, is here. He said he was trying to bring his son some luck. Evidently, that was not the case. More trying times for Michael Andretti, but he'll come right, as they say in this part of England. There's Damon Hill doing quite well, thank you. Wearing those white patches on his helmet, symbolic of the London Rowing Club. His father used to wear them.
It's hard to believe that Michael now has 3 Grand Prix under his belt and has a total of 5 racing laps. I mean, what can you say in a situation like that when a pit reporter puts a microphone in your face? You can't say anything, really. I mean, the eyes of the world watch you, want to know, you know, what happened, how did it happen? I mean, it's such a difficult situation where you can't really learn your craft or your trade away from the public eye. But I mean, that's part of the pressure of big-time World Championship Formula One racing.
Well, we can tell you, as you watch Alain Prost having set the fast lap, a mark that will change all day as the Formula One cars return to Donington Park after a long absence. Michael Andretti has been in the top 10 in every session. He can get around a racetrack in a Formula One car. He just needs to get a race under him. Jean Alesi now pits for slicks in the Ferrari pit and brings the legendary number 27 back onto the racetrack. Alain Prost following Ayrton Senna by 6.3 seconds. It is Senna, Prost, Hill, Barrichello, Alesi, and Schumacher. We'll be back for more live from Donington.
I think Wendy's hamburgers are delicious, but every once in a while, I like to add something special, like a rye bun and creamy ranch dressing.
Introducing Wendy's Bacon Cheeseburger on rye. It's a big quarter-pound bacon cheeseburger with Dave's own creamy ranch dressing, all on a toasted rye bun. Man, that's one great bacon cheeseburger.
Rye bun, ranch dressing, where else but Wendy's?
Come try Wendy's new Bacon Cheeseburger on rye, but hurry, because it'll only be around for a limited time.
They break and enter, but they're not thieves.
We're getting too old for this.
They know your secrets, but they're not spies.
Mr. Bishop, do you mind if I take those?
Carl, grow up.
Now, they've been hired to find a secret.
And your job is to find that little black box.
More powerful than any weapon.
Give me the box, Marty.
There isn't a government on this planet that wouldn't kill us all for that thing.
They've almost got us.
Full of close calls and terrifying crashes comes to an end. Bernard Knaus fights to capture his 3rd straight title at the U.S. Pro Ski Championship today on ESPN.
You're watching live from the McLaren pit, awaiting Grand Prix leader Ayrton Senna. Damon Hill for the Williams team just pitted for his slicks and went back out again. The running order is now Senna, Prost, and I believe Ruben Barrichello might be up into third place now. There's Damon Hill back out on slick tires. Michael Schumacher has also pitted for slicks.
You can clearly see the color of the pavement there and how dry it is. I'm surprised Senna has not been in earlier. This may swing the advantage the Williams way, and it may actually swing it to Damon Hill's in favor of him. But here's Senna now down the pit lane.
Senna comes in, takes it nice and easy, doesn't want to make any mistakes. Nice slow stop for the McLaren team. There's a bit of a problem on the front right, but it's not a bad stop at all. And he's back out on the track, and now we wait for Alain Prost.
Not a bad stop at all. I'd make that one under 7 seconds.
Well, now we wait for Damon Hill, and I don't think Damon Hill got by him. I think that was him on the top of the picture, just coming around the final hairpin onto the Wheatcroft straight here. So Senna manages to hang on to the lead. Now the key is how quickly Prost can get in and get out. It looks easy, but mistakes can be made so easily in pit stops because there are so many people doing such a lot in such a short space of time.
And Alain Prost being held up right there by Michele Alboreto in that garishly painted Lola Ferrari. That won't help him either. I think I saw Senna out of the corner of my eye, just to the back of the picture. Let's look. No sign of him just yet.
There's no doubt.
There is Senna right there. So that is all the time that the Williams team will have to get tires on Alain Prost's car when he comes by.
There's no doubt that Prost and Williams or whoever made a mistake in Brazil. He stayed out way too long. The rain came down, and that had a big contribution to him leaving the road. But we're going to watch for Prost now, because for sure he's in this lap or the next one.
Well, that's the other thing, isn't it? Because Senna's going to be gaining ground like gangbusters. Prost has to come in and get new tires, or he's just going to lose more ground. And he is in the pit lane. James Allen.
Okay, I'm down the pit, wait for Alain Prost. He takes it nice and easy coming in. Now he's stopped. The guns are on. The wheel nuts come off. The slick tires go on. It's quite a nice operation. Williams not famous for quick pit stops, but this was a nice, smooth stop by Williams. And Prost is back out on the track to challenge Senna in the dry conditions that he loves.
There he goes. Senna just went out of the picture, so the teams did a great job. Nobody passed anybody in the pit lane. They're on slicks. But remember now, Prost knows he is faster than Senna. Senna is very difficult to pass at the best of times, and Donington Park is not known for its ability to allow racing cars to pass. All through this section here, this is the Craner curve, the old hairpin, all through these sweeps, it's virtually impossible to pass cars that you're racing against. That tells you how good the slicks are. Within 2 laps of being out, Damon Hill sets fastest lap of the race.
What these Formula One cars can do is just extraordinary. The state-of-the-art world sports cars, the fully body-enveloped machines that are technically supposed to be faster than Formula One cars, raced here last year. The Peugeot team, of course, dominated that series. Derek Warwick set pole in that race at 1 minute 15 seconds and change, beaten by 5 full seconds by these Formula One cars. That was Gerhard Berger back in the pits, so problems continue. He had a long pit stop last time he was in. Meanwhile, Ayrton Senna going around the man I just mentioned, Derek Warwick.
He's got to be careful in a traffic situation. He has to be careful. Warwick, I don't believe, has stopped yet for slicks. He may have, but the line is dry. Look at that nice light gray. Warwick is on slicks. He moves way offline to let Senna go by. Knows he's not in the fight. Happy to move over and let the leaders go ahead with their race.
Ayrton Senna now leading Alain Prost by 5.1 seconds after a round of pit stops. The contrails continue off the rear wing. You can see those little extra barn doors they've added just in front of the air intakes for the radiators. The Benetton team is now experimenting with those as well. A new idea does not last long in a Formula One pit lane.
It's amazing, really, when Senna came into this season, he didn't have high hopes of being ultra-competitive, but things seemed to go his way. At Brazil, the rain caused the race to fall into his lap, and he was able to win. His only chance here was rain, but it is going to be a dogfight now as this place dries out here, because Senna will hang on to that lead position just as hard as he can. But look at Damon Hill here close in on his teammate Prost, but Berger's day is over. The leisurely pit stop earlier, obviously there was something wrong, something serious. He went out, tried it again, and it was no good.
Well, our next stop will be the Grand Prix of San Marino in Imola, Italy, and Ferrari will definitely have to be on form there. We expect 250,000 rabid Ferrari fans on hand at the Autodromo Enzo Indino Ferrari, and you'll see that race as well here on ESPN. That tells you just how bad the weather has been here the last couple of days here at Donington. We'll be back for more live.
Splitfire earned a United States patent. Splitfire doesn't look like any other spark plug. And the patented Splitfire doesn't work like any other spark plug.
5 extra horsepower by merely installing these plugs. Quicker in the quarter mile. A 4.8% gain in mileage.
There's nothing like a Splitfire. You'll get more